Yo. Okay, cool. Y'all again with this whole thing. We got another episode of Sanity, Trance here. Um, this one's gonna be about waves because I needed an excuse to use this goofy footage I got. so, um, mostly this is actually more about listening than it is the waves themselves, but it's about waves. You know, it kind of loops into each other like that. It's one happens for the other kind of thing. One of my favorite concepts about waves is the way that like I couldn't even understand how crazy it really was. it's it's just you could think of your mind as a pond of water, and then the minute you have a thought, ripples go everywhere. And if you only think that one thought, you get to feel the ripples of that moment happen. You know, it's that's it can take a while to express sometimes. You know, some certain sounds take longer than others, like slight quick bird chirps versus like a long whale call. You know, it's like sometimes these things take so long you're anxious to speak before the statements are made, and so you can't even really nothing really ever gets appreciated because everything is so trying to steal the spotlight. You know, it's like if you only had one spotlight on the stage and everybody's soloing at once and you're just trying, there's no way you can even hear anyone, let alone see anyone, because you're too busy trying to figure out where am I supposed to be paying attention to at this moment. It's just craziness, you know. And then on top of all that, you have to hear yourself think. But you can even see it on a visual level. You know, it's easier to see on a visual level because, especially in the, like making the bathtub footage here, it's I realized there's layers to the waves happening. Like it seems like there was it's all there's just depth. You know, it feels like there's a couple stories worth of wave activity going on, from the reflection of the light underneath the surface of the water, or the fact that it's changing heights with the waves from the faucet just going on full blast. You know, it's like those waves are all playing with each other, and because the faucet is just nonstop just berating the water, you have waves on waves on waves. So it's really hard to even see what a single drop in the pond might look like. But if you picture that and then you look at the filling bathtub, it's like that's exactly what's happening when you have a bunch of people together who don't listen to each other, you know? Like a congress of baboons or something, you know? But that's, in music, it's so much harder to appreciate that. You know, there's so much going on between all the musicians involved that if everyone's trying to be seen, or, you know, if they're not aware of the spotlight control factor, but on an aural level, you know, then you might have, you'll never have any real stillness moments in a band like that. You might have some epic busy stuff going on, you know, like it might be some of the coolest shred stuff that can be out there sometimes when everything's just going crazy and the world's ending and falling apart at the end of some song. But like, you know, then you have instruments like gigantic concert bass drums, and when you hit one of those, it's like longer than that even, you know. But it's such a hit. It's such a long-lasting moment that it can, that's a statement all by itself, you know. Just finishing that out really lets you feel gigantic notes that float over things, you know. And if a note like that is trying to exist and be heard, there really can't be very much going on beneath it. There can be busier things happening underneath, but it can't take away from the focus, you know. And that idea in music is it's on an impulsive level, it's very well understood, but like on a large scale thinking type of way, it's widely abused. You don't really get to have dynamics in your band anymore. You don't get to have uh, warpings of time all the way. It's not such a high range. You can't go to stillness, and that's just a shame. But like, it's just that idea. It's not too crazy. When you line things up and they're together, those waves agree and they resonate and they double in strength. But that can also be a little bit of a danger to the mix if you have something else trying to go on at the same time. It's like that's what mixing is on an engineering level, is making sure that every wave can actually be heard. And it's not even up to the engineer. The engineer's just there to try to make it like that. But really, that job is the musicians. And if the musician is really listening to the entire room, to the audience, to the attention spans, those kind of things, you're really plugging in and listening on a level that is just as visual as it is aural, as it is sensual on a feeling level with your sensitivity. All these factors are making a perception for you. And as a musician, if you understand where the spotlight is supposed to be, we'll call it the mental spotlight, like where you want the audience person to be caught up in the intention of the moment of the art piece. If you know where it's supposed to be, you know when you're supposed to play harder, louder, softer, more sparsely, busier. All those things they're not personal decisions. They're decisions that are side effects of the arrangement, which is a much bigger mechanism at work there that makes all the impulsive decisions just, exactly what you should do. And even if you don't exactly know why, deep down it's because of this wave theory. It actually is like, imagine getting a massage, like someone's just punching your back or something, all like just putting some kind of pattern, right? And then all of a sudden you get a weird chop to like the side of your hip or something, and it's really uncomfortable and incredibly unexpected, and there's just that one, and it's like, it just seems out of place, and it leaves your body even feeling unbalanced, unresolved, and those things. And that's what that'll give you, is non-resolution, which is definitely the other half of music. You have to resolve to unresolve to resolve again. But if you're not aware of how often you're leaving things unresolved and you're playing these kind of games during a resolution or something, then you're leaving the entire audience and even, it's just bad trance management. If you're trying to really make a seamless production and you keep ending up in that boat, then that means you can't make a seamless production, and that's something to actually practice. If all of your productions are trying to be intentional to make you feel this way or leave you in the dust like that, that's cool and all, but it's like, I also, it doesn't mean as much unless if that's the only flavor you can offer, and that one kind of, that's not really something I'm a fan of, is checking out stuff that specifically offends me for entertainment. I don't think most people think that way, and I'm not saying I'm like everyone, but whatever I feel, I know I'm not the only person who feels it, and that goes for all these attitudes. So, just understanding what normal kind of is on a statistical level seems to be the healthiest way to really know what's going on, but that doesn't mean it has to line up with your own beliefs, and you're not normal if such and such, if times are changing. How's that? No, it's all about peace, man, and if you feel like you're not expressed because you're constantly interrupted, there's the beginning. That helps you're not being deeply listened to somehow, or, you just find another room where you can feel like you're able to really let go like that, and it's amazing to me how much people need to be listened to. That's a psychological thing. They need this affirmation on a bunch of levels, and some of it's just unnecessary, but on another level, it's just basic survival. It's the same thing as seeing solitary confinement as a punishment. It's like, we need communication. We really do. But anyway, the waves are fun. You can make them as busy or as sparse as you want, but you have to understand, let everything express itself and be able to hear people's punctuation marks in their sentences. It's easy to hear questions, because you can always hear that inflection raise. But sentences are more of a space kind of pause. And so if you let people have that air after their sentences, that can be really therapeutic for somebody who's just completely wound up all the time. That might even be part of the reason right there is like, this can be such a subconscious idea of like, I don't feel listened to or whatever. But yeah, musically speaking though, I mean, you can see it clear as day here on the tub footage here with how busy things can look when it's just constant activity. But imagine just a still pond with a single drop falling in, and that's the other side of it. And then returning to the still pond. It's mostly you're playing on attention span, which is based off of people's survival mechanisms deep down. So have fun with all that, and surf's up. Later, y'all.